Trends in food. Changing consumer. Diversified taste. Tastes are trending towards more ethnic fare, mostly due to the nation's changing diversity. As the ethnic populations continue to grow, new styles of fusion cuisine will continue to emerge. This trend will further evolve the palates and the regular eating habits of American consumers. Healthful diets. Governments have played a part in promoting safety standards and regulations. New labeling practices with greater information have become the rule. Obesity, heart disease, and diabetes are becoming epidemics, leading to changing eating habits. A new culture has developed which prefers an organic diet free of preservatives, pesticides, and genetic modifications. Environmental and global consciousness. Environmental concerns are influencing people's choices in foods. The local food movement is in part a reaction to the pollution that results from packaging and transporting food items. Many customers are also expecting the food service industry to use more environmentally friendly production practices and materials. Customers are the new critics. With the emergence of internet blogs and social media, consumers have become empowered with voice that was once available to newspaper and magazine food critics. Consumers can vent about terrible service and tasteless food, or share pleasant experiences and give recommendations to millions of online readers. The customer's preferences and experience are helping to define the new trends in food service through mass communication. Organizations and today's consumer. Urban agriculture. Seizing on the need for cheap and healthy fare, a recent explosion of urban revitalization projects have included income-producing community farming. Besides increasing the food security and sustainability of the area, this activity can also promote recreation, awareness, and relaxation for participants. Agritourism. With increased interest and exposure of all things culinary, a new kind of vacation is available to aficionados. This may take place on a ranch, vineyard, or working farm. Often, participants get to help with common tasks as they learn and have fun. The Slow Food Movement. This international nonprofit movement was founded in 1989 to counteract the unhealthful and environmentally destructive influence of fast food on modern culture. This movement promotes through education eco-gastronomy, which is the combination of pleasure and responsibility through good, clean, and fair foods. Although the Slow Foods reach is worldwide, there is a Slow Food USDA branch that, on its website, describes its goal as being to educate through school and campus-based initiatives, promote local and regional foods, safeguard biodiversity, and connect people around the country with their food and the people who grow it. Fair trade. Fair trade is a global trading system based on the efforts of activists, importers, and business people who seek to make international trade more equitable for disadvantaged producers of goods in poverty-stricken nations. Fair trade forms partnerships with suppliers and distributors who join the network and agree to uphold the ideals of fairness. Its goals are fair payment, safe working conditions, and the protection of cultural identity and the environment in developing nations that are vulnerable to exploitation by global businesses. The products of farmers, artisans, and other producers of goods are inspected and certified by the Fair Trade Labeling Organization International, FLO. Consumers who are part of the fair trade movement purchase products that are labeled with the Fair Trade label in an effort to reduce global poverty and to obtain authentic goods.
Local food. The local food movement. The local food movement is based on a philosophy that promotes purchasing and consuming food products that are grown and raised locally. Supporters of this system, often referred to as locavores, feel it offers a number of advantages compared to large-scale or agribusiness products. Economic advantages. There is an economic advantage to local food systems. Distributing products directly to the public eliminates the need for a middleman, such as a large grocery store, and therefore there is no profit for a third party added to the price. This gives more money to the producer, usually a family farm or small processor, and can also result in savings for the consumer. Food safety and quality. The supply chain of local food is shorter and can be more easily traced. Some locavores feel this helps to ensure food safety and wholesomeness. Ecological. Many local food proponents believe that transporting food long distances uses too much energy and produces a deep carbon footprint. Some locally produced foods are also produced organically, using fewer or no harmful chemicals or additives. Social. Locavores often feel the spirit, unity, and social health of their communities are enhanced through a more direct process of obtaining food and contributing to the livelihood of community members. The local food movement is a way of connecting urban and rural communities. Local food initiatives. Farmers markets, usually held out of doors in public spaces where farmers and other local producers can sell products to the public, are not exactly new trends. These street market style gatherings have been around since the earliest forms of commerce. However, farmers markets have become increasingly more popular in the last couple of decades. Some advantages of farmers markets include greater freshness, quality, and value. Items commonly found at farmers markets include fresh fruits and vegetables, often organically grown and locally raised meats and poultry. These products are usually raised or processed locally, although not always. Some producers travel to sell their homemade wares in other cities. These markets connect the urban community with the local farms in a direct and convenient platform that enables personal relationships between the grower and the consumer while still allowing for choice. Community-supported agriculture, or CSAs. Rather than having farmers take on the burden of debt and responsibility in growing food for the community alone, community members support local farms by buying shares in the farm, or in return for their investment they would receive a share of whatever the farm produced. One aspect of CSA that makes it different from other local food models is the concept of shared risk. In the CSA model, if the farm produced nothing due to natural disaster, for example, then community shareholders would not get their money's worth for that season. Consumers take a risk and invest in the potential of the farm. While there are variations in arrangements, participants in CSAs today, rather than operating under the shareholder model, purchase memberships or subscriptions to receive seasonal foods on a weekly basis directly from their local farmer. Farm-to-school programs. The Farm-to-School organization is a network that connects schools with farms to improve nutrition in school lunches with fresh vegetables, fruits, and dairy products. The program's objective is to help communities raise healthier children and to promote local and regional farmers. The 100-Mile Diet. This movement that promotes awareness and support for consuming only local foods began with a book by Lisa Smith and James McKinnon. Followers eliminate anything that is not grown or raised within 100 miles from their own hometown. So anyone on this diet who does not live in a region that produces sugar would have to say goodbye to all those sugar-sweetened foods. The low-carbon diet. Introduced by David Gershon in his book in 2000, this diet is not about eating less carbon. The name refers to the carbon footprint, the amount of pollution that people leave behind based on the amount of energy they use. People who follow this program make changes in their daily habits to reduce pollution. One of the changes in the low-carbon diet involves the delivery methods of food and product. Locally produced foods that do not have to travel far make it to the table, especially when coming from environmentally conscious producers, replace foods from, for example, polluting factories that had to have it shipped by truck all the way across the country. Vegetarian types. Alternative diets and vegetarianism. Some customers will have dietary restrictions due to religious, cultural, or personal reasons. These may include kosher, halal, or vegetarian requirements. When customers tell you that they subscribe to a vegetarian or vegan diet, you need to know if the vegetable soup is made with chicken or beef stock so that you can inform them. Also, when preparing vegetarian and vegan meals, You should not use the same utensils or cooking surfaces that have been used to prepare meat because the customer's digestive system might be sensitive to meat products. Pescatarian. A vegetarian diet that includes fish is the one exception of animal meat because these vegetarians are willing to consume either in preparation or a full vegetarian diet for health reasons or just personal preference. Flexitarian. This is a diet that outlines a menu of primarily vegetarian meals with only occasional consumption of meat. Lacto-Ovo Vegetarian. A vegetarian diet that includes consuming dairy or lacto and egg ovo products, but not animal meat. Vegan. The vegan diet does not include anything containing animal or animal-derived ingredients or anything processed with or by animals or animal products like dairy, honey, rennet, gelatin, even if animal ingredients do not end up in the finished product. A raw vegan. Some people who prescribe to the vegan diet prefer only to eat vegetables, but to consume them in such a manner as to not heat them above 115 degrees Fahrenheit. The raw vegan's diet is meant to help people absorb all possible nutrition from the fruits and vegetables they consume. Macrobiotic. This diet combines the pescatarian style of eating vegetables and occasional fish, along with unprocessed vegan foods like whole grains, fruits, and vegetables. Other food items such as sugars and refined oils are excluded. Asian vegetables such as seaweed and daikon are popular among people who enjoy a macrobiotic diet. Grains lack the essential amino acid lysine, which is why most vegetarian cultures combine their diet of grains with legumes in order to achieve a balanced diet. Legumes lack the essential amino acid methionine, which is found in grains. The combination of legumes with grains forms a well-balanced diet for vegetarians. Such combinations include dal with rice used in Indian cuisine, beans with corn tortillas, tofu with rice, and peanut butter with wheat bread.
Green food service. The food service industry, fast food restaurants, grocery stores, and other food service establishments, is beginning to make changes in the amount of pollution produced as a result of conducting everyday business. With the help of modern technology, the food service industry is moving away from older practices and towards a more green approach to meeting consumers' needs. Waste in any operation is generated because of inefficient practices, so the ability to turn waste into new product or reducing waste by creating more sustainable energy products will increase the earning potential of a business. Green food service involves all aspects of the food service industry, not just creating more environmentally friendly cups and containers for people to recycle. Increasing the energy efficiency of food service equipment, reducing waste, incorporating the use of natural cleaning and sanitation supplies, and finding ways to reduce or reuse wastewater are all parts of creating a green food service establishment. Waste. Efforts are being made to decrease the amount of packing in food service, as well as to reduce or even eliminate polystyrene packaging. Landfills are overwhelmed, and safety concerns have prompted new laws and restrictions. However, waste does not only apply to packaging, but to all waste generated during food preparation, food service, purchasing, and janitorial activities. Green food service begins with small steps that can help improve business efficiency and the environment. For example, food service establishments can reduce packaging waste by not overpacking takeout orders, reduce china and glass breakage by placing rubber mats around bus and dishwashing areas, replace one-use condiment packages with refillable condiment dispensers, avoid polystyrene, styrofoam, and disposable flatware, silverware, in favor of reusable dishes and utensils. Polystyrene is petroleum-based, so it is not biodegradable and not easily recycled. Reduce menu printing costs by eliminating paper inserts, reusing menus, and using boards to post specials. Ask carbonated beverage suppliers to provide food service business with reusable, refillable syrup containers instead of bag-in-box throwaway containers. Designate glass, plastic, and cardboard recycling pickup with local collectors. Purchase paper materials paper towels, toilet tissue, menus, order pads, cash register tapes, bags, dish trays made from recycled materials. Wastewater. The environmental impact of wastewater affects more than just local sewage systems. It can affect the entire water cycle: evaporation, condensation, precipitation. This means waste dumped in rivers can be evaporated only to be drained down again in oceans and lakes and on the land, contaminating and damaging the environment. For water to be considered sanitary enough to enter the environment again, it must go through a serious process that can be costly and energy consuming. To prevent water waste and contamination, food service establishments can fully train employees in sanitation practices, because most people overuse cleaning chemicals and concentrated cleaning agents. Wastewater containing cleaning supplies is expensive and difficult to clean. Clean spills with squeegee, broom, or vacuum. Avoid paper towels. Install low-flow faucets, automatic turn-off faucets, and low-flow toilets. Instruct employees to never hose materials down drain. This contributes to a more rigorous and expensive water purifying cost. Replace rubber faucet gaskets with brass. Replace nozzles with automatic shutoff nozzles. Install pedal-operated foot controllers for faucets. Do not thaw foods under running water. Reuse sink water by using the rinse water as pre-soak water for the next round of dishes. Steam clean the floors instead of mopping. 50 to 80% of wastewater in restaurant and fast food establishments come from the restroom water.
Describe methods for reducing solid waste in the food industry. Describe methods for reducing wastewater in the food industry.
Energy. Irresponsible use of energy is not only environmentally unsound, but can be financially costly to food service businesses. To maintain responsible energy use, food service establishments can regularly service, clean, and reprogram all equipment so it functions at peak condition, including oven calibration, and check for leaky pipes. Replace incandescent bulbs for energy-conserving fluorescent lights. Change air conditioning filters and clean refrigerator coils often. Buildup causes higher energy consumption. Use energy-efficient and water-conserving equipment, especially dishwashers, refrigerators, washing, drying machines, and freezers. Install motion-sensitive lights. Set thermostats to reasonable levels. Fats, oils, and grease. Residual fats, oils, and grease, FOG, is a product that needs to be carefully handled, and if treated correctly, can become a financially productive waste product. A large percentage of sewage buildup and municipal processing costs are attributed to FOG, usually due to improper disposal at commercial, institutional, and even residential sites. The first step is to be conservative in the use of FOG to limit the amount of waste. The next step is to use proper cleaning methods. Using a hose to force water, foods, detergent, disinfectants, waxes, pesticides, and fog down floor drains introduces these substances to the sewer systems. Even worse is when these substances are hosed outdoors and into a storm drain, where they go directly to waterways that feed recreational areas, fishing locations, and irrigation waters. Both practices are harmful and in some states illegal. Instead, utilize dry cleanup done without a hose first. The food service industry in the United States produces more than 3 billion gallons of waste oil annually, the equivalent of 1% of the U.S. oil consumption. Dry cleanup procedures. Remove fog from cookware, dishes, utensils, etc. using a rubber scraper. Use paper towels on workstations. Cloth towels will accumulate grease in washing machines. Use kitty litter to absorb liquid spills. Then sweep the litter into the trash, provided it does not contain any hazardous chemicals. Recycling. FOG can actually be recycled as well. Oil and grease collection recycling is often referred to as rendering, and it can be profitable and a valuable resource if properly treated. Collect fryer oil in a rendering tank for transport and disposal. These rendering tanks should be covered securely to prevent contaminating the oil with rainwater or sun exposure. Equipment maintenance. Also be sure to properly maintain equipment that is used to collect, filter, and store FOG. All staff should be aware of cleaning procedures. Establishing a schedule for maintenance is helpful in ensuring proper and timely cleaning of all equipment. Large hood filters should be professionally cleaned, but small hoods can be cleaned by employees. Skim filter fryer grease daily, changing when necessary to extend the life of the fryer and the oil. Make sure all drain screens are installed. When washing flatware and silverware, use a hot water only, no detergent, pre-wash that is separately tapped to remove oils and greases. Most diesel vehicles can be converted to a 2-tank fuel system that runs on fryer grease collected from local restaurants. These vehicles experience less engine wear, produce fewer emissions, maintain equal fuel economy, and require equal maintenance when compared to gasoline and regular diesel vehicles.
Describe appropriate handling and disposal of oil and grease. Exam tip. What can be done to reduce energy consumption in business? Note: the food service industry in the United States produces more than 3 billion gallons of waste oil annually, the equivalent of about 1% of total U.S. oil consumption. There are three things included: dry cleanup procedures. Dry cleanup procedures. 1. Remove FOG from cookware, dishes, utensils, etc. with a rubber scraper. 2. Use paper towels on workstations. Cloth of towels will accumulate grease in washing machines. 3. Use kitty litter to absorb liquid spills, then sweep litter into the trash, provided it does not contain hazardous chemicals.
Genetically modified food. Genetic modification of food. A recent topic of interest to both consumers and professionals in the food service field is genetically modified food, GMOs. These foods, which are also called transgenic or genetically modified organisms, are the result of recent scientific discoveries. GM foods are first produced in a laboratory by inserting specific genes into a plant or animal. The gene is added because of a quality such as resistance to disease or better nutritional value that should make the food easier to grow or healthier for the people who consume it. Compared to traditional crossbreeding, genetic modification is much quicker and more exact in producing the desired traits. It also allows genes from non-related species to be inserted into the plant or animal. Potential benefits of genetic modification. Advocates of genetic modification claim a long list of potential and significant benefits to the world's food supply from these organisms. Many scientists also dismiss many of the risks listed, saying they are scientifically unproven or easily monitored and controlled. Benefits may include drought resistance, pest resistance, herbicide tolerance, cold tolerance, disease resistance. Meeting consumer demand, all of these attributes can help produce plants and animals that are more productive, say advocates, thereby helping to feed and keep healthy the 6 billion plus inhabitants of the earth. Pharmaceutical application. Further potential claims to GM foods include pharmaceutical uses, such as creating plants which contain vaccines. This could be of help in poor cultures where modern medicines may be too expensive or hard to administer. Another potential use involves making organisms that can be used to clean up pollution and natural toxic waste. Because of the intense foods. There is a huge stock of information about them in books, audio, video sources, and on the internet. No doubt the controversy will continue into the future. Controversy. Criticisms generally fall under one of three categories. First, health risk. A known risk is allergens. If a gene from a nut, for example, were inserted into a grain, then people who are allergic to that nut might also be allergic to the modified grain. A general risk to human health is also a concern because GM food items have no historical or biological past record to show they are safe in the long term. Second, environmental risk. Potential problems include GM foods causing harms to other animals or plants, reduced effectiveness of pesticides, and finally, a fear that genes will be unintentionally transferred to other plants or animals in the wild. Third, economic or social risk. GMOs are very expensive to produce and are usually created by for-profit ventures. Many humanitarian groups are concerned that GM foods will be too expensive for impoverished countries and individuals to purchase, further widening the gap between modern and third world countries.
Slow food moment. A vegan diet.